listening to Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML. Call Don right now, 682-1270.
News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show. And I do believe we should have on the line, we should have Susan Gibbs from the SS United States Conservancy. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Good morning. And I apologize if I didn't give you the call-in number beforehand. I apologize for that. But I'm glad we were able to catch up to you. And before we get started, I'm sure you're probably wondering, like a lot of my listeners are right now, probably wondering why a radio host in Wyoming would be interested in your story. I actually lived in Philadelphia for a number of years, and I lived in Wilmington after that. So I used to drive by the United States almost every day, and I always wondered what the story was. And the more I looked into it, the more I realized that this is something that everyone could learn from. And I mean, it really is a huge part of our nation's history. And I want to thank you for joining us this morning to talk about your efforts to save the ship.
It's my pleasure to be here.
So I guess first off, the way I've been talking about this lately, I always get a lot of calls from people saying that the United States needs to get back to being a nation that builds things and produces things. And my thought on all of that is that we really need to know where we came from. And the United States really is the pinnacle of especially maritime engineering in this country. I mean, could you just tell us a little bit about the history of the ship and why it's so important for everybody to realize why it's important to us?
I sure can. The SS United States is, we say, the most famous ship that didn't sink. The ship was produced in the Newport News Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Company in Virginia in 17 months after World War II, when the United States was on the top of its game, and the ship was absolutely innovative in every respect. It remains to this day it has the fastest transatlantic speed crossing. It was a symbol of American technological innovation, pride, and unity.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also, I thought one of the most interesting things about it is it's also one of the safest ships ever built. And anytime I've talked about the United States on my old show and my old station before, and I'd always get calls in. People would want to talk about the Titanic, and it's the safety part of it always really amazed me. I mean, there wasn't, if I remember the legend right, the only wood on the entire ship was the wheel, right?
Yeah, there was very little wood. In fact, my grandfather, the ship's designer, tried but failed to get Theodore Steinway to commission aluminum pianos for the ship. But ultimately, Steinway refused, so mahogany pianos were allowed on board. But no, there were the butcher's blocks and some of the wood and the balsa wood in the keels. But yes, it was an absolutely safe ship. Again, as my grandfather liked to say, you can't set her on fire, you can't sink her, and you can't catch her.
Well, and I mean, the lifeboats and everything, I mean, everything was considered. And, of course, your grandfather, the great William Francis Gibbs, is a legend in naval architecture. I mean, he if I remember right, he designed something like 5,000 ships during World War II? Yes,
he did. His firm was responsible for up to 70% of the heavy armored ships in World War II, and basically he harnessed all of that know-how, all of that design expertise, he and his firm, to produce the SS United States after the war, and it really was, in his view and in the view of many others, the perfect ship.
Yeah, and again, as the flagship for the nation, it really. It was the pride of America, and again, I've mentioned that I've talked about it in my old show before. We'd always get calls from people that either traveled on the ship or came to this country on the ship, and for those people, that's an important part of their lives, isn't it?
Oh, it absolutely is. The ship still remains an extraordinary symbol of America. It's red, white, and blue funnels. They're 67 feet high, as tall as a 6-story building. And certainly during the service career of the ship, we get talk to Europeans who would see this huge red, white, and blue symbol gliding in to the continent, and it absolutely showcased again the nation's strength, technological innovation, and connection to the rest of the world.
Oh yeah, and you mentioned how it always had this look of, even to this day. I mean, it's been sitting at a dock in Philadelphia, right along the main road, since I think 93, 96. I think it was
in 96. So it's 96. Actually been in Philadelphia for 17 years, which in fact is the same number of years the ship was in seagoing service.
Yeah, and even to this day, I mean, you drive past it, I mean, it still looks like it's, it could use a little bit of a paint job, but it still looks like you could just turn the boilers on and go right out to sea. I mean, unfortunately, that's probably not the case anymore. But the United States Conservancy was formed to save this ship, and there have been a number of efforts over the years. I know Norwegian Cruise Line jumped in at one point, and they thought they might be able to, but the economic slowdown kind of got in the way of that. So what's the latest on the plans to save the ship?
Yeah, so the SS United States Conservancy was able to purchase the ship from Norwegian Cruise Line, Genting Hong Kong, the parent company of Norwegian Cruise Line, in 2011. And since we've purchased the ship, we have been working literally around the clock to save this vessel for the long term. Our vision is to convert the ship into a mixed-use museum and development complex that, there's an extraordinary amount of prime waterfront real estate on board the vessel, upwards of 500,000 square feet. The ship can be an extraordinary kind of creator of jobs and engine for economic innovation. And, of course, very dear to my heart is our future museum on board the ship, the SS United States Center for Design and Discovery, which, of course, will tell the story of this extraordinary ship and its history, but it will also tell a much bigger story of American innovation, design, and discovery.
Yeah, and that's the part that really interested me, and I think even here in landlocked Wyoming, I think a lot of our listeners would be interested in seeing something like that, because the days where we did build things and we built great things like the SS United States, I think that could be maybe a little kick in the butt to kind of get things going again. And, looking back at that history and seeing that we did do such great things would definitely be a good catalyst to get things moving again.
Yeah, no, we absolutely see that, and we hope that when this ship is restored, that your listeners from Wyoming will take a voyage to wherever this ship ends up, whether it's New York, Philadelphia, Miami, and be able to embark on a journey. Granted, the ship may not go anywhere physically, but people will be able to take extraordinary journeys while on board the ship and really learn about this great nation's history and its past, and explore technological innovation for the future. We envisage sort of a TED Talk series on steroids, if you will, where there can just be an extraordinary opportunity for people to connect and literally kind of take journeys both forward and backward in time, and the ship will just be an amazing vehicle through which to do that. Now
you mentioned there are three plans that are kind of in the works. Either New York, which is where the ship sailed from for so many years, and Philadelphia, of course, which is where the ship is now, and Miami, which would be a great attraction for people coming into Miami to sail out on cruises. I mean, it would be a great attraction for them. Is there any movement towards one of those, or is it still kind of in the planning phases?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's still in the negotiation and planning stages. There are interesting prospects in each of those three cities. And as you can imagine, it's a big, audacious project, and so there are a number of pieces that need to come together kind of simultaneously with respect to securing the right constellation of partners as well as the permanent pier location. So while I can't divulge specific details of where negotiations stand at this moment, we remain very encouraged and excited about the possibilities that lie in wait.
Right, and this is something that anybody could get involved with as well. I mean, you have of course, the Conservancy's website is ssusc.org, which has all the news. But you also have, I believe, SaveTheUnitedStates.org. Is that right?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is a wonderful website that we have set up in which people can purchase virtual inches of the ship. We've created a wonderful model of the ship online, and your listeners can kind of go on, scroll around, explore the vessel, see its nooks and crannies, and then, if they're so inspired, purchase even 1 inch. 1 inch, or of course, we encourage more. But in addition to purchasing an inch, then they can also be personalized, and so people can upload photos or they can post stories or memories about the ship, and it really is just a fantastic tapestry now that really shows how this ship has touched the lives of so many people. And this virtual ship, if you will be a prime attraction in our future museum as well. So it's a wonderful site that I very much encourage your listeners to check out.
Yeah, and it's SaveTheUnitedStates.org, and it really is a neat website. I have it up on the screen now. I mean, you can basically go over every square inch of the ship. Different parts have different little history lessons and some photos. You can click on the bridge, the propellers, and it teaches you a little bit about the ship as well. And for someone like me who's a little bit of a little bit of an ocean liner buff, I mean, it's a great history lesson. But I mean, it's also, even if you're you get seasick and you're afraid of the water, I mean, it's such an important part of our history that it's something that definitely deserves to be preserved. I mean, you go to Long Beach and you see the Queen Mary. Why can't that be done for the flagship of our nation?
Yes, especially because the Queen Mary, the British vessel, the Queen Mary, was the ship that the SS United States trounced in the transatlantic speed race.
Yeah.
And so it is quite ironic that the British ship, the Queen Mary, is lovingly preserved, and America's national flagship is languishing. So we couldn't agree with you more on that point. We also, I should mention, have a wonderful documentary film about the ship. If any of your listeners are interested in learning more, it's available on our website in different chapters. We also have a very active Facebook page that is a lot of fun, a lot of action, and so there are a number of ways in which folks can learn more about the ship. We also have been very honored to have the involvement of David Macaulay, who is a very prominent author and illustrator and has produced books that children of all ages have enjoyed over the years. And he is working on an exciting project right now in which the SS United States will receive top billing, and he has a special blog that can be visited on our website, which is just a lot of fun, in which he's sketching the ship and reflecting on its significance. And so we encourage your listeners to check that out as well.
Yeah, the Made in America documentary really is superbly done, and it's for someone that might not be as familiar. It is broken up into 5 different parts, and it's a good lesson of why this ship is important and some of the efforts that are being made to save it. And again, it's at ssusc.org, and it's also on YouTube if you just wanted to put in SS United States Made in America. But go to the website. It really is well done. And it's just I hope that we definitely raise some awareness of this, and it's something that I'll be keeping my eye on, because I do think it's vitally important that we remember our history. And I know you have you probably have some other media engagements that you want to get to, and I don't want to keep you for too much longer. But anything in closing you'd like to say about the efforts being made to save the SS United States?
Well, just that we've been so encouraged by the support that we have received so far. We now have Conservancy members and supporters from every state in the nation, as well as 22 countries. And we really feel like this momentum is building, but it is certainly a big project. But I couldn't agree with you more that it is a unifying and inspiring project, and particularly at this moment of time politically, when there is just so much divisiveness, and even we've seen. I'm speaking to you from Washington D.C., so need I say more? But this is just a wonderful project, and we are absolutely determined to save the United States.
Yeah, well, and for those that might not know, I mean, the alternative is to see the flagship of our nation go to the breakers, and over the past few years, we've seen that. We saw it with the France / Norway. We saw it with the QE2. I guess they're heading to the breakers as well. It's a sad ending for something that's supposed to be the symbol of your country, and it would be a shame if it happened, to the greatest country in the world.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. Our Walter Cronkite, the great newscaster who formerly chaired our advisory council before his passing, he said it would be a crime against history to see this ship be cut up into razor blades, and we are just fighting so hard to prevent that outcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk with us. Again, the website is ssusc.org or SaveTheUnitedStates.org. Again, Susan Gibbs from the SS United States Conservancy. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you again soon, and maybe we'll have some good news soon.
I hope so, and it's been a real pleasure, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. And with that, we're going to take a break. Again, the website, ssusc.org or SaveTheUnitedStates.org. Just go and watch the documentary. It's about, I think, with all 5 parts, it's about an hour long. It's definitely worth a watch. News Talk 1270 KIML.
Broadcasting from 2 tall towers in the middle of a big field. John Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.